This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and a very warm welcome. Yes, it's the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. My name's Lee Keys, and joining me for this weekend's fair where we've got the Derby Trial, the Oaks Trials at Lingfield, together with the Swinton Hurdle at Haydock. Less said about that, the better. Are any of you still out there, still backing over the obstacles? You morons, let's get on the flat. It's me, John and Quentin Franks, to repair the damage in recent weeks. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening, Lee. Evening, John.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. You'd be a bit worried to know, chaps. I'm a bit ashamed of us because I don't even put the naps table up. We're a minus 60 odd points, according to the producer. That's fucking atrocious.
How many weeks has it been of the flat season? 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's early days. John, we haven't got off to a worse start like this, have we?
I can't remember a flat season where there's been so much shitty ground there.
Well, blame anything. Blame Davis. It was actually Davis we've learnt this afternoon, the sly old fox. He's had a reverse forecast, the Irish to, in the Staying Plate at Chester.
Well, stick there on the running total for the fucking
Why not? Yeah, 48 notes. He's had a 30 quid reverse. Go and rob the cunt down where he lives, near some pub called the Barleycorn. Go and hit him off head as he's leaving. On to today's show, then this is the best bets round. Just the three of us to try and claw it back and get it right this weekend for you, because it's been a frustrating time following us and we need to make hay. Best bets round 1, 2 and 3 points. Quentin Franks, you can get us off to a flyer.
I can when I find the race. 15.45 Ascot. There we go. Don't like the favourite. I think I've mentioned to you previously that this mid-air is JD. Not obviously JD in terms of high head carriage, but he just tosses it off at the end of races. They put the pieces on and, fair enough, his mark might look fine in relation to some of his times, but he's 2-1. He's taken a fair old chunk out of the market. Horse I want on side was potentially going to be one of my 5 to follow till they kind of nosed it up a couple of days beforehand. Step Up in Triple Suit, horse in question's too bossy for us. Yard in decent nick. As I said, Step Up in Triple Suit should get a gallop to aim at here. And there's just a few in the race I don't really like. As I mentioned, the favourite, Midnight Storm, seemed a bit hangy both ways last time out. I think they've put it in 15-2, something like that. He appeals as a
7-1 for you.
7-1. That's fine.
Yeah.
7-1's more than fine. I kind of expect him to be more 4-1 poke. He'll keep improving as the season goes on. Nice type. And I think he's got a lot more to come.
Yeah, it's been commented by yourself and John. John, are you sort of trying to get on now? Too bossy for us?
I've got nothing to say at this stage.
Okay, I'll not spoil it. 1 point win then for me to try and carry it on. We go to Ascot in the 205, and who doesn't love a lovely Fillies handicap? It's just the ticket for everyone concerned. And my selection here is the Harry Charlton trained Susanna, Will Buick in the saddle. Now, I always think trainers get too much credit from media after a race. They always say, "Oh, that was great placing there." You know, they're the worst of the worst, and we saw that today with Mr. Hampstead at Chester. It was a sack of shit from Roger Vegetables running it round there. So Susanna, anyway, get to the point. The last 2 runs, they decided the brainwave of taking it to Newmarket. She wasn't very happy on that track on both occasions. She was unlucky when she was third, penultimate start last year, towards the end of last season. And then the last start, she didn't handle the ground. Now back to Ascot and an even nice pace to run at. She's still well enough handicapped. And I do believe that 9-2 represents some value, because I think she'll do well from 3 to 4. She's definitely got the size. It's nothing not to like. A filly going places this season if they decide to race her on the right tracks. And I think tomorrow's Ascot is just that. 9-2, 1 point win for me, generally available. Jonas?
4.55 Ascot. In view of our desperate results, I was I've changed my prep for tonight's show a bit. I've had like 2 days on muesli. I've already had 2 massive shits today, so I'm feeling on very good terms with myself.
Images.
And this one hopefully will get me off to a good start. 455, Expert Agent. Now, this one came to Stuart Williams, a friend of the show, from Silly Fat Defoy at the end of last year. having come to himself quite early last year, and he won off 82 in April last year, which I thought was interesting. He established during that time, I felt, that he was best over 6 furlongs when given a bit of a chance to find himself in a race. The last time he ran on well enough off 77 to suggest he's peaking again, that was at Windsor, where I thought he did well against a profound track bias, really. He's been dropped another pound here. Both wins have come on the all-weather, but I don't really mind that when it comes to the straight track at Ascot. I tend to think somehow they play a bit similar. Neil Callan, a good booking, because cool heads will be required here. I probably should go each way, but I'm in view of the situation, I'll go 1 point win.
Yep, 18's John for you, General, and of course for you punters at home. If you can take advantage of that 6 pegs, I'm sure John will be probably saying that's the way to go. If you are able to get on with those bookies, probably the right way of doing things. Right, round 1's done. Nice price selection and good reasoning from John. I'll start us off with round 2, and I'm going to Haydock for the Swinton Hurdle. All that baloney at the start of the show. I don't know. What am I doing? Anyway, it's a favourite of mine because I tipped it up on the Cheltenham Fez podcast, a horse called Lark in the Morning. I didn't really capitalise at the festival because the ground turned heavy, and much to my horror, the horse still managed to win. And now, tomorrow at Haydock, it's going to get more or less its flat ground. I mean, this is going to be a seriously good flat horse. I'm amazed they've just gone straight over hurdles and not explored the flat a bit longer. But anyway, that's what they're doing. And 130 is certainly well below what I think this horse is capable of on this type of ground. And added to that is, although a 4-year-old hasn't won since 2014, there has been 4 winners of this race from 26 runners. So being a 4-year-old taking on the elders isn't necessarily a disadvantage that some might think. They've got a decent record. So with that in mind, every box is ticked: ground, class, flat speed. Can put these to the sword with some real good foot. I think this is a very, very good bet indeed. At around, I think, the 5-2 mark, I believe. So the producer's nodding there. So I'm not fiddling. 2 points win. Lark in the Morning, 5-2. Jonas.
240 Ascot, the Vicky Cup. I spent the last 18 months virtually gagging for Johnny Murter to stop lobbing this game and run this horse in one of these, carry the one. However, he never bothered, and he stuck to stakes races all to no avail. He nearly got an email, but then I thought he probably can't read. The clue would come in the Irish Lincoln run. How Murta didn't see it, I don't know. He must have watched that race on teletext. He's gone to Michael Bell. Now, Michael Bell's had an email, and he knows what the plan is. He hasn't acknowledged the email, but he'll be getting another one if this wins. I was pleased with the first run back for Bell. He sat out the back at HQ, which wasn't a particularly brilliant idea, but I didn't back him that day, so I didn't care. He came home quite nicely. The pace isn't guaranteed, but what pace there is might be closest to him. I've already backed this at 25-1 each way, so I'll advise a point each way.
So is this on the Michael Bell horse?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we saying? I know, like, because you started off talking about Johnny Murta's. So
yeah.
You're not going to lose on that, surely.
I don't care about Murta. Murta's got rid of the Ricky Cup winner, as far as that.
Are you happy with Stotty?
Nobody would ever be happy with Stotty, but I'm as happy as I can be.
So 25-1, a point each way, and that'll be 6 pegs, John.
Lovely.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Right, Quentin, finish the round.
I'm going to finish the round 1700 Haydock Lee. Horse I want on side, top of the market, Canberra Legend. Pretty boring, 15-8, but should probably be nearer 5-4 shot. It's fast ground at Haydock tomorrow. You'd hope, given it's fucking 24 degrees and it's good to firm already. Rogue Raider's gone the wrong way mentally from the debut. The head's gone all over the place. It's gone to Peter Chapelheim. I think that's a downgrade from Clover. Minstrel Knight, the third in massive knee action related to soft ground horses, will find this far too fast. Amnasar's a dog. Rich Harry doesn't want this surface. Continuance needs a longer trip than this. Yippee semi-interesting, but Canberra Legend shaped well last time out. Trouble in Running was the best horse in the race on the day. Steady Fractions probably didn't suit it. A winner's come from that race. I think we put up on edge Lunatio the other day at Windsor. Appeals
Lucentio Towsers,
as okay form. Nice type. He's better than a 70 rated horse. 2 points win, 15-8.
2 points win, 15-8. Lovely job late. I don't mind these sort of bankers like this when you've got negatives for the rest. That's the skill. Find the negatives in the others, and then as long as yours is like worthy, you've got an absolute great A bet. So 15-8 for Quentin to finish round 2 off. Before we go on to the best round, supposedly, allegedly, I'd just like to say that whilst we're not doing it on this show, we're certainly doing it on Bar Stewart's Edge. I'm a little perplexed as to why we haven't got more in. We've got a good amount in. It's good. But I don't understand why none of you are not joining, because we are 18% on investment going out at 10:45 to 11 a.m. Nearly 70 points up from 380 odd staked. Nearly going on for a year now. We're into the last month before we say that we've been going for a year. So we've got a good track record. We work really hard. And certainly if you are interested in keeping your betting accounts, i.e. because you're not taking the overnight prices and then you're getting canned, this could be for you. And it's not just that. You get Traders Corner, you get an Irish angle with all the Irish races from our Irish friend who's a good judge. There's lots of stuff in there, betting bulletins, and honestly, the value for money is immense. So get joining Edge and support the Bar Stewards.
If I could just add, Lee, as well, like the results, though, like you get other services out there that include best odds guaranteed. We don't do none of that bollocks, and they're win-only bets as well. So none of this each way 8 places, all that malarkey. Like,
no snides, no 33-1 shots where it sets you up for a year. If you get a 33-1 winner and it goes into like 5s, and then you lose your account anyway. It's usually bets under 10-1 that are fancied. Put it this way, you make the same at Betfair SP with Edge as what you do at 11 a.m. So that tells you that we're actually playing fairly, fair as it can be. So if you've got a Betfair account, you don't need a bookie account because you're making as much on the exchange. There you go. There's nothing not to like. It's a quality service, and I urge you to try it. And as Quentin says, it's all win only, not complicated. It's either 1 point win or 2 points win, and that's it. No best odds, it's got to be 2 bookmakers' prices, stuff like that. But it don't matter anyway because we're proving at Betfair SP it makes the same. Right, 3-point round. Okay, Quentin, you can start us off, please.
I will start us off in the 1550 at Haydock Lee. Horse in question is Poet Master. Think they would have probably gone a touch bigger if Percy's lad hadn't have bolted up earlier in the day. But just races against Scrap here. Newmarket wasn't his course last time out, despite him winning, changing his legs late doors all over the place. Form was strong, time was strong. Pogo will bounce out here. He'll track. Here we go. He'll track Pogo through. Like Pogo just looked kind of gone last time out. Had the run of things at Sandown and folded like a deck of cards. Chartash beat absolutely nothing at Thirsk. Like the Burke horse that they turned it in. The second wasn't proven on the ground. Witch Hunter needs a strong gallop to run at, and I'm not too concerned about the others in the race. I think this is a kind of Group 2, Group 1 horse in time. 9-4 in a place, 2-1 across the board. Probably more of an 11-10 shot. 3 points win.
Agreed, and that will be all the rage probably overnight and in the morning. I can see this going off closer to what you said, Quentin. 2-1 for you, for your max. A couple of bankers from Quentin there could be. It's a 2-point and 3-point round. John, what's your direction of travel for your 3 points?
Downward as usual. I think Quentin will know what's coming here. 3:45 Ascot. Old silly fat the fire again. Too bossy for us. Basically, I mean, he annoyed the shit out of me on his third start. This could have been starting handicaps off possibly sub 65.
Yeah.
But the silly bastards went with a half-assed effort at Kempton and landed £10 more than they needed. He's still, for me, got about a stone up his sleeve because I think he's going to be a 90-plus horse this. It's just a shame because he could have been a decide how much you want to win job. The stable horses are like 46% running to form, canny enough. And I think Benoit, I'm not basing this on any stats, just my fuzzy recollection. I think he's got a reasonable record riding for this chap. So quite happy to rock along with this at 3-point win.
Yep, 7-1 for you, same as Quentin. So that is a klaxon. It's official. Yeah, the asthmatic horse of Neville's reigns on. Hopefully that can do the business for us. Too bossy for us. Interesting comments from both of you on that. I'll finish us off with something boring, but I am saying this is a max bet with max confidence behind it. I am pretty certain if things go okay in the run, Defiance will win the Lingfield Derby trial at 3 o'clock tomorrow. 9-4 currently available. I think this will go off a well bet 13-8 fav. I have very strong negative for Illinois from the O'Brien yard. And for that reason, I don't see anything lurking in here that could beat this. I think this is a useful tool. It was much the best at Epsom, position it came from, large sectional upgrade. It certainly has the class, in my view, to run in a derby if they want. It's obviously shown form round Epsom, so Lingfield track tomorrow will be of no issue whatsoever. And yeah, I cannot be any more confident with a 3-point win bet at 9-4. I think it should be shorter, and I think it will go off shorter, and you should bet accordingly if it's available by the time you listen. Right, I hope you enjoyed the best bets round. There's certainly plenty of confidence from us, a klaxon, and some nice prices, particularly from John. So hopefully we can get back on track as a pod. Now, it is, of course, the TV races tomorrow to go through. And instead of analysing Chester's fucking track biases and draws and shit, rails in and out, shake it all about, we've now got some proper racing, you could say, around Lingfield's shit pit on turf. It never gets any better. We try and say it does. Obviously, the TV races tomorrow, I've already covered Swinton, and I know these two have got about zero interest in that. So we're just going to do Lingfield and Ascot television. So we'll start off at Ascot for the opener, which is the 1:30 and an incredibly competitive 1.5-mile handicap, sponsored by Peroni. What's not to like? Have 6 pints of them and start smashing your way into Jeff Banks' joint, knocking him off it. Sorry, Jeff, I love you. As long as you buy me a beer at York, we'll call it quits.
It's the 0% Peroni, though, it's sponsored by. No, you don't want none of that. Fucking hell. No.
Yeah, so I'm not actually promoting irresponsible drinking. It's more there you go. So that's it, yeah. So you won't go stumbling into Jeff Banks' joint.
Most weeks we do promote irresponsible drinking.
Yeah. I'll just leave that to ITV there. They love promoting gins, ciders, beers, everything, Guinness, everything bar betting, really. Right, 1:30 then. Right, let's go for it, chaps. Quentin, lead us into the race. You must have something or some way into this.
Wide draws, as per, over the 1.5 at Ascot. Inside doesn't tend to play, does it? The horse I kind of wanted onside was. Enough pace in the race. Great Bedouin. It's been off the track a while, but Hannon steady away. Yeah, you got Pat Dobbs in the saddle, but kind of thought he got let off lightly with a £5 rise. Did well to win at Goodwood last time out. Form looks steady enough in the context of this race. Should do better from 3-4, you'd think. You got a lot in here that appear to be at the top of the mark. I know Qatari's won on like better ground, but the big time figure came on heavy ground, and he very much seemed suited to that sort of surface when they went mental at Salisbury last week or this week, whenever it was. Sunday, I think it was. But yeah, Great Bedouin appeals as slightly overpriced. He's 8-9-1 in a couple of places. I kind of thought he was more a 6-1 shot.
He's obviously not a nightclub type. He's still an end tire. This lad's probably well behaved to still have his tackle rate at 82 as a 4-year-old colt. John, any sort of view from you on this?
I think there's an interesting one in here in King of the Plains. He's always struck me as a nice type. Last year, the Qatar lot had him with the kilt. Obviously, the kilt tried to kill him. We even had a pulled up from him on the flat, for God's sake.
Mm.
He's gone to James Horton, which can only be a trainer upgrade, in my opinion. I think it's hugely interesting that Redvers has taken a piece of him. He's listed as one of the 3 owners. So I think this horse is very interesting this year. James's horses are probably just about up to snuff for this time of year. I'd be needing to have a look at him to see if he's left plenty on him or whatever. But I think he's far and away the most interesting horse in the race.
I'd say the booking of O'Sheen suggests he's not messing around.
Well, yeah. It all points to that. I'd just like to see the horse for myself, because a couple of times last year after the Kiltons had him throw the mangle, he honest to God, he looked like a broken Airfix model.
What, with glue-on windows? I used to love these Airfix models, and I used to do really well. Then it comes to putting windows in. And every fucking time I got fucking glue all out windows, it just made honestly. I just, every Airfix airplane I tried to build, it was a complete mess. Anyway, King of the Plains for one of John's favourite trainers, really likes James Horton, former assistant to the Baron. He certainly made great strides for the fraudster. And hopefully he'll make a comeback. And do you know what, John? I think James Horton needs something like this, a winner on the telly, just to get him going even further.
He does. He needs a little nudge now because when he's back in Newmarket, it took him a while to get used to the gallops again because obviously you go to middle him, you can do nearly everything on the collar, but you can overcook him at Newmarket when you're back on them flat open spaces and you're not going past anything. You don't know how fast you're going, So.
Good point. Nothing from me, really. 205 race. I've tipped Susanna, the filly of Buicks. John, you love fillies races.
Yes, man, let's just say off.
I know. Good 5-1 the field fillies race for John at Ascot.
That's got me in the bog, that.
Only thing I will say is here that I sort of forgot to mention in my preview of my bet was I don't like backing 3-year-olds at shorter trips at this time of year against the elders. And only one has ever won this race. And that happened to be Tis But a Dream off a mark of 86 that ended up 103.
Yeah, with David Egan claiming 7 as well.
And David Egan taking 7 off, which was just a piss take, right? So, with that in mind, that does take a fair old chunk out of the market. And that should have been one of the reasons I kind of mentioned why I was backing Susanna, because you've got Flying Fin at 6s, that's 14%. My Margie at 8s, that's 11.25. Top Hanger at 12s, that's 7.32. Bellarchi at 16s. So 37% out of the market, if you believe the 3-year-olds, like I do at this time of year, over this trip, are disadvantaged against their elders. But let's see how that plays out. So John's thoughts on this. Quentin, your thoughts on this?
The one I was semi-interested in, not so much now, it's a Sea of Blue, was last year's winner, even Far Too Shy. Comes from the same race that I mentioned earlier, Poet Master, Percy's Lad. Wind was blowing him home that day and just ended up poorly positioned. Same race as Carry the One, actually. It appeals as like strong form that's going to work out, but she's now 10-1 across the board, and the interest has kind of waned.
George Margerson's one of them trainers, John, isn't he?
Yeah, only lets the brakes off at Ascot and York.
He seems to do very well here. And secondly, he's one of them trainers that every time I've bet something, he beats me in a driving finish. You think, fuck off, George. Then he even comes on Telebox afterwards and says, I knew that I'd win at 50s.
He did that to us at York last year, didn't he? He actually came up to us and said, fuck
he
yeah.
did. He actually did physically came up to us. Yeah. That was a pleasant experience for him. I get where you're coming from, Quentin. Far Too Shy. But like you said, price a little bit under pressure. 240 then, the Vicky Cup. What are we saying about the draw?
Boy, up.
Anywhere but low, surely.
Did you see that later race though at Ascot today? What was it? It was break the bank.
Charlie Hill's thing that won it by the Phoenix of Spain thing.
That was like middle to far side. I don't know if you should read anything into this at all, but
I think ground's all right across.
here, if you fancied a little tipple, John, in this, the draw won't put you off.
Well, say I've had a little tipple anyway.
Yeah, you have.
And it's not putting me off because my pace map tells me that the one port for a bit of pace really is round about that side. So
yeah, stall 7 you've got.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah. Davis mentioned to us this afternoon he didn't think there was much pace on.
There's enough pace in the race. You got Zero Carbon, Merlin the Wizard, Caravaggio, the Wizard of Eye, Let's Get On With It, Ravenstorm. There's enough pace across. There's enough pace spread across the field. They never tend to go steady in these races anyway. Everyone gets a bit giddy and like I'm no concern about pace. You know, it's 23 runner field. Seldom do they hack along in a big straight field handicap.
Yeah, Indian Jim on the Fav.
So many tires.
Well, this is it. Okay, so we're not concerned about pace. We're not that bothered about the draw. Hence, there'll be a massive bias tomorrow. It just happens like that.
Yeah.
Quentin, anything that you particularly like at prices? Or?
I was boring and thought Pearl D'Or should have been shorted, and he's now 8s in a couple of places. I still think he should be shorter. I think he'll go off favourite, especially if that's before the other race. I just like that Newmarket form. He was given just a not off there, to be honest. Again, wind was blowing him home, not hard pressed. He's set 2, 1 and 3 is Ascot form. Yards in better nick than it was then. Sylvester's on top as well. He's riding well at the moment. 8 to 1's fine. Kind of feels like he should be a few spots shorter. I think he will go off a well-backed favourite.
Interesting. Good prediction, Quentin. Some of our trading followers will like that. The interesting thing for me with that, the HUD goes back on, and it wasn't on at HQ. So like you say, it wasn't busy there, was it? It is under pressure, the price. That it's already been nibbled at. We'll move across to Lingfield, where we'll look at the 4 they've got on the TV there. The 150 race is the 1.5 furlongs. Handicap Almeric heads the market at 9 to 4 for Roger Vegetables. James Doyle in the saddle. John, any thoughts here?
I thought, if not now, ran in some tidy races last year. None more so than the race behind Gregory, where he was only breaking the strain a bit. He had a light campaign last year, so I don't think it was all straightforward with him. If there was a nice steady winter and prep into this, I think he could make into a half decent start this year. He'd be the one in the race that I think could take a leap forward.
Yeah, no, it's last season. He bolted up in that handicap, that 3-runner race. Then they took him to Germany. Not Verden bon Verden either. It was Hamburg. Yeah, for the Deutsche Derby. I didn't know the Deutsche Derby were at Hamburg. Never knew that. I'd have got that wrong in a quiz question, I think.
I'd have said Nuremberg.
Yeah, Nuremberg ring. Do you remember that? She's dead now, isn't she? That mad cow went round there in a transit van and did it in about 10 minutes or something. And even proper drivers who were driving sports cars were struggling to match it. She's just insane. She was like nearly turning it over every corner.
Yeah, it's astonishing she's dead, isn't it?
It is.
Well, it's astonishing to think she wasn't killed in an RTA.
Well, that's it. That's the sad thing. She actually didn't get scuppered round there. And there has been deaths on Nürburgring, haven't there? Normal folk going crackers. Interesting stuff. If not now for John Quentin.
I'm boring with the favourite, to be honest. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with, 9 to 4? Good record, fresh. I'm expecting Lingfield to ride kind of good to firm in places tomorrow. Goes well on the ground. Did very well to win last time out. I don't think there's not much to like. He kind of feels more of a 6 to 4 shot. It was like 4th on my list if prices had gone on other things. Flash Bardot needs softer ground. If not now, was an interesting one, but again, the ground's a nagging doubt in the back of my head. He hung on fast ground at, I think it was Haydock last year when he was getting handicapped. Base note's more of an all-weather horse. Side Binster is winding shit down. Prescott has started the season well, so that would be a danger, but yeah, I kind of thought Almeric was overpriced at 9 to 4. I can see that being really well punted.
Could be a good day for Roger Vegetables. I'm probably with you, Quentin, but it is a bit dull, so we'll move on at the price. 225, more dullards here, 11 to 10 for the William Hill Oaks Trial. Danielle is the horse in question, the filly in question at 11 to 10. I've looked at John's notes for this, and I think John likes her. Am I right, John?
Yeah, she's all right. I like the pedigree as well. I think the fact that she's capable of winning over 10, despite being a sister to a Gold Cup winner, I think that bodes very well. That said, Ruby's Red is from an absolute whale of a family. All seem as though they were fitted with a switch that only gets thrown when they get to 12 furlongs. And they go from being, all right, into like Popeye on the spinach. She has scope. She could be an Oaks player for definite for me. Probably a bit of value against this fab because I can't see an awful lot else in the race. Molten Rock lacks any sort of pedigree. The 2-year-old farm's probably not stacking up. Treasure is a half sister to a sack of shit, really, and I don't think the trainer could have been thrilled when that one got sent. So I make it a straight up match, and the feeling is that Ruby's Red might just be a bit of value. But I think Danielle's all right.
After speaking to the Irish fellow the other day, he seemed to think she was the one that was withdrawn out of the Cheshire Oaks, wasn't she? And they ran Port Fairy. Well, he seemed to think, and left me in no uncertain terms, that he thought Ruby's Red is a better filly than Port Fairy. And Port Fairy wasn't disgraced, narrowly losing out to the winner of Rafe and Ralph's. I agree with you, John. I think this should be closer.
Yeah, you see as well, a filly like Ruby's Red, all the predecessors from the family have really switched on when they've got 12 furlongs to run that. The stable are whistling in the dark a bit because there's no way on earth they've worked them over 12.
Yeah.
They kind of know, but they don't know. But the family points to the fact that it'll happen again.
Yeah. Obviously, Ruby's Red was beaten by Galileo Dame that didn't run very well in that Cheshire Oaks, but that wasn't Galileo Dame's track or ground, I didn't feel.
Just too long for her on there, wasn't she, and everything.
Yes. So Ruby's Red, I think, for me and John. Where does Quentin sit on this, though?
I'm with you. I remember John saying something about Danielle being like as fit as something to do with a mackerel when she appeared at 10 o'clock in the morning in Chelmsford. Seems razor sharp. She hits the ground fairly hard. Is she going to want this fast ground? And I think it will be fast tomorrow unless they slung water down that we don't know about. Pages and ongoing recommendation. But we've seen Aidan's horses progress like from their initial runs this season. I'm expecting a fair step forward from Ruby's Red from what she showed at Leopardstown that time. I know she came second in the maiden, but she got the page to fall back on. She moves like she'll appreciate this better ground as well. I think she's probably a point too big and should maybe be about 3 to 1.
Until they actually peak and you get like a consistent level of form with these fillies. Aidan's fillies are just as difficult to read as a bloody Solomon Rushdie, aren't they?
Yeah.
You really are whistling in the dark.
Yeah. Definitely he's from a very good family, is Aidan's. Just to a price, you got to me, Daniel filly going from a mile up to the strip, maybe improves a lot.
Maybe third.
We know Beckett likes winning these. You don't like Treasure, John. Well, you do, but not this one.
I think if this is sausage fingers big up for an Oaks winner, he's going to have to hang on in there for another year at least.
And what about Burke's? Molten Rock?
I don't think the 2-year-old form stacks up.
Okay.
It's bred for soft ground as well, like proper soft ground pedigree that's got. I thought it was quite interesting that they put Treasure in the Musadora. Maybe do they rate her higher and like it's just in case she doesn't enter the stalls here like the Ed Walker thing yesterday. But they didn't do the same with You Got Me, so just thought that was semi-interesting just as a talking point.
Yeah, not good spot on the entries. I think the Musadora this year, am I right in saying it looked quite potentially weak?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very weak. I think York entries as a whole look weak, just like on the initial inspection. Like there wasn't too much I was bouncing about going, I'm looking forward to that, but maybe that's just me.
Well, not, because we do love a good York meeting. Right, we'll move on from the fillies and the consensus there of us three is Rubies Are Red is probably a little bit overpriced. Defiance in the Derby trial, obviously tipped up with confidence from me, so you don't need to hear more from me. John, your thoughts on the Derby trial?
I agree with you in the main. And if I had to cast around for an outsider, I would suggest that if Endless Victory hadn't run at the Guineas racing, Salamanca would probably only be about 12 or 14 to 1 for this. We've got scope to improve.
Big Jane.
Big Jane, yeah.
Sends them nutty, John, doesn't she? On gallops.
Yeah.
Right, Quentin.
This will be the last chance to catch him sane.
Yeah. Well, she's got to do something with them colours, I'll tell you now, because they're spending zillions.
Yeah, they had a nice one last night at Chelmsford, didn't they? Makes up for, what, 10 grand of it?
Yeah, Spurs. I think they're hoping for better, but anyway. So, Quentin, where do you sit in the Derby trial?
I'm with you in Defiance, Lee. Thought he did very well to get as close as he did, given the pace. Wouldn't want any soft in the ground. He won't get any soft in the ground. That's why I kind of think he is the price he is at the moment, just because the going description's not changed. Illinois just looks a boat, doesn't he? He looks slow as a funeral last time out. I could not have that at all at, what is he, 9 to 4? He feels more like a 4 to 1 poke for me. Defiance, he kind of goes on undulating idiosyncratic tracks. Apart from that, you look through the fields, and the only outsider that really took the eye would have been Maydan. That form's taken Knox, though. Don't think he handled Newmarket last time out. But no, I'm with you in Defiance.
Good stuff, let's hope it's a decent weekend for Roger Vegetables, especially after his Chester placings. An idiot. 3:35, the Chartwell Fillies stakes. The Japanese woman's all right there, John.
Yeah.
I thought you like turning Japanese and all that. Right, I'll shut up. Chartwell Fillies Group 3 contest. Remarquee for Rafe and Ralph brothers. That's our challenge, really. If we see Ralph, we've got to call him Ralph.
And then say, oh, sorry, I thought it was Rafe.
Yeah, I think we've got to do that.
Oh, sorry, Rafe, I thought you were Ralph. Yeah.
Indeed. Right, Remarquee's favourite for this contest, given her exploits last season when chasing home possibly the best fillies on display in Grade 1 company in Tahira, likes of Nashua, and also fourth at Deauville, which would see her lap these. Is there a case to be made, though, for fillies just not running anywhere near to form for no reason whatsoever, John?
Yes. And here's a suggestion for this race. And it's not going to have a massive shit while it's on. There's 12 to 1 available at the minute about Stanton Glider. Now, that one got beat about a neck by the favourite in the Fred Darling last year, when she had the devil's own job overhauling her. This is the only pace in the race. So, in the interests of responsible gambling, I would urge all the listeners to bang 100 on this at 12 to 1, and then get the fuck out of Dodge between 7 and 8. Then you'll have 400 to nout. And if the favourite's making gains in the last furlong and everything else is struggling, you can bang 400 on that. Happy days.
Yeah, that's a good case there. What's gone wrong with Stanton Glider since then?
Well, who says? The answer always lies within the question, doesn't it? Really?
It does, really. It's a fair point. So Stanton Glider is a speculative choice for John against the Fav in terms of this might belt out and make all.
I'm absolutely sure it'll belt out and bag the snotty rail at Lingers, which it can't hurt, can it? It can't hurt the pricing on it.
It can't. Traders will be loving you on tonight's show, Quentin.
You know what? I had absolutely nothing on the race, but John's bang on the money there. There is no pace in the race. You've got one front runner. Who knows what the rail does at Lingfield now? They've tried to get the bias out of it, but you'd like to think that he goes over across to the rail.
If you were dishing the instructions out tomorrow, Quentin, there's only one avenue you'll be taking.
Yes, you are correct. It would be everyone thinks you're going forward, pull back, hold it out, find trouble and run, and we've laid it for a lot.
That were the good old days in the old Wild West days of Betfair when there were fortunes to be had. Nowadays, you'd be lucky if you can buy dinner with what you can make on there. We're doing things like that. Right, anyway, so that more or less covers things off then. I think we're there then. We've covered everything we need to cover. Don't need to ramble on. So I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully we will supply you with profit this weekend, which is much needed, of course, for the bar stewards as well. That's all from us. Bye for now.